Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Lisbon Live. My name is Gudmundur Jonsson. I'm the founding principal of this extraordinary project, which is the Lisbon International School. So today, the aim is for me to give you an introduction to the Lisbon, the nature of this school project, and you will also have an opportunity to ask questions towards the end of the presentation. We have run open days in Lisbon recently, and we will be running further open days as well. And of course, nothing replaces actually seeing you face to face. So if you can attend any one of those opportunities, you are absolutely welcome, of course, to attend those as well. Now, I have my wonderful colleague, John, who is sitting in the background, and he will be collating all of the questions that you have. So if you have a question, you can hit the Q&A button, and he will be recording those questions and pulling together the various themes that emerge, and then we can address those questions at the end of the presentation. So, without further ado, let me share my presentation with you. Bear with me just one moment. So, this first image here, which was taken very recently, shows the beautiful building that is the Lisbon International School. Built between 1905 and 1910, this was originally a pasta factory, the A Napolitana pasta factory, and it sits in the vibrant and beautiful neighborhood of Alcantara in Lisbon, which many of you may be familiar with. Now, the next slide contains a video and just gives you a little bit of flavor of the ethos of our school. So a little bit of a insight there into what we are about as a school. The information I'm going to present to you today is first to tell you that we are in the middle of recruiting our team, our growing founding team for the Lisbon, and then give you an insight into our mission, our vision, our values, why we do, what we aim to do in breathing life into this extraordinary building and this extraordinary school. The school is made up of the primary school and the secondary school. So give you some information about the nature of both schools, ultimately being one school. And then two central pillars of our DNA, one being the Lisbon experience, the other being the Lisbon promise. So what is that? You'll find out in just a moment. And then take you through the admissions process and then address the questions that you have for me today. So the team. So the top left corner, smiling me. It's such a privilege to be taking on this role of being the founding principal, of being able to mold and shape a new school, a new international school in the heart of Lisbon. I'm recently joined by Amy Clifford, our founding head of primary. Amy brings a wealth of knowledge and background in international education. She ran a junior school for 8 years in Brazil. We have our education consultant, Francisco Vigo, who has the insight and knowledge of Portugal and Lisbon around education. We have our admissions manager, Lexi Lloyd Owen, together with Katarina Jäger-Jonsson, who are driving forward our admissions process and interacting with all families, prospective families, in securing places at our school. And John, who I referenced earlier, our marketing manager, who has a wonderful talent and flair for being able to breathe life into how we actually communicate our identity as a school to Lisbon and to the wider world. Now, in terms of our mission and vision, our identity, the DNA of our school, this centers around three school principles of the BOA principles, as we call them, which is a wonderful play on words and, of course, meaning good in Portuguese. BOA stands for belong, own, and act. And we aim to build a vibrant community where we feel a strong sense of connectedness. Research shows us that it is vitally important to create an environment where we celebrate and nurture human flourishing. And when people feel that sense of belonging, then we are already halfway there in terms of providing a wonderful education for our children. They are excited about being at school. Our staff are excited at being with them in school. And you, as parents, are excited about being part of our community, and it plays an important role in your lives. The second pillar of own is vitally important as belong is. This is about ownership and providing voice, opportunities of voice, so that we together can shape opportunities for exciting and innovative and forward-thinking learning and growth in our schools. And action sits at the heart of a strong education. We are not about rote learning, far from it. In fact, the very opposite. It is about providing meaningful opportunities for action to support our growth and, of course, giving back to our community, which I'll come on to in my presentation today, which is vitally important. So here are our BOA principles. Now, our principles are related to the values that we celebrate every day at our school. And they are 5 values. The first one being kindness. Kindness is a vitally important value for all us, as all of the values are. Learning to be kind. What does it mean to be kind? To be truly kind takes a great deal of strength. And kindness has to sit at the heart of our identity as a school. Together with curiosity, fostering curiosity within our children. Children are naturally curious. They are naturally creative. And we want to make sure that we leverage that curiosity and that we support their development in terms of curiosity and creativity all the way through the entire experience of being at the Lisboan. Connection I've talked about, this sits the heart of creating a flourishing, thriving, happy, dynamic community. Resilience is a vitally important part of anyone's education, to learn how to pick yourself up when things don't go to plan, when things go wrong, that we get up, we keep going. And of course, making mistakes is a vitally important part of learning, the learning process. That is true for all of us. So creating safe conditions where we allow our children to take risk, but we also allow them to make those mistakes, which are such a vitally important part of education, and integrity. Or having openness and transparency and fostering honesty and truthfulness is vitally important in any valuable education. So together, our principles of BOA, of belong, own, and act, together with our values. You'll also see around in this graphic here, in the circle around this graphic, these are vitally important aspects of our education as well, and they very much are a part of the international baccalaureate education model, which I will come onto in just a moment. So, made in Lisbon. ready for the world. We have this amazing opportunity of creating something unique in the heart of Lisbon. So we will strive to build community, to go out into the community of Alcantara, but also I want the community of Alcantara to see our school as a vitally important hub for them. That is our locality, but of course, building connection not just with our local environment and understanding and giving back to our local area and the city of Lisbon and beyond in Portugal, but also making links out into the wider world and understanding the various challenges that we all face as a global community and being able to think about how we can create a better world for us all. This is the responsibility and the exciting challenge that we have as educators within our school. We have soul, we have this heritage that we are building on. The building itself, or the buildings, I should say, because of course there are three of them. This is the or was the Napoletana pasta factory, and it builds on this history. So we are walking into a building that has this incredibly exciting environment. And here on the right-hand side of the screen, you can see some images from when it was a thriving pasta factory. And so being able to explore that history and heritage within that sits within our buildings, but of course outside our buildings as well, in the incredible city that is Lisbon, provides us with so much opportunity for learning. Now, let me talk about the structure of the school and the nature of the school to give you a flavor of the school day that your children will experience once they join the Lisboan. So we aim to open our school with 300 students, and we will open our school from nursery and reception, so the earliest years of our school, the youngest children, and then we will go all the way up to and including year 10. And so that would be grade 9, for example, if you're used to the American system. And the primary school is made up of those early years classes, but together with also what we call years 1 to year 6. So going all the way up to age 11, approximately. And then we have our secondary school. So that takes from year 7 all the way eventually up to our final graduating cohort of year 13. And as I say, we open our doors in September. Actually, the first day of school is the 1st of September with year 7. So for ages 11, all the way up to approximately 14, 15-year-olds entering year 10. And you can see here as well, within the secondary school, you can see that for years 10 and 11, they undertake a 2-year program called the International General Certificate of Secondary Education. And then followed on from that, and in fact, in 2027, we will be introducing the IB diploma. So after this first opening year, we add year 11 in the following year, and so on and so forth, until we have all year groups and all ages represented at the Lisboan. So what does it look like in terms of curriculum and the learning pathways that our children will have access to? So we will be a Cambridge International School. This means that the curriculum that children experience at all levels, bar the final 2 years, will be Cambridge-based. And the Cambridge curriculum is an international curriculum, and it is based on the international curriculum, but of course we are able to bring into it all of the wealth and diversity of Portugal and Lisbon and beyond. So Cambridge curriculum will run from the early years, so the EYFS that you see there on the screen, that's early years foundation stage, all the way up to year 6, so that's the primary school. And then again, Cambridge curriculum follows on in the secondary school, leading towards the last 2 years, 10 and 11, where they undertake a 2-year program, but again, that is offered by Cambridge. And then finally, the IB diploma. So let me give you a little bit more insight into every stage of the education your children will experience. Firstly, within the primary school. And there you can actually see these smiling children wearing the school uniform, the Lisboan uniform. So the early years, foundation stage, so nursery and reception, these are the first 2 years. 3 to 5 years old within our school. This is an inquiry-based curriculum where children will be able to express their full creativity, and we nurture their growth and development through a thematic approach, a play-based approach to education. Literacy, numeracy, gaining an understanding and exploring the world around them, their immediate world, and fostering their creativity through expressive arts and design, supported by nurturing their communication skills, their language skills, their personal and social, their social and emotional development, and of course their physical development. There'll be lots of opportunities to foster those vitally important aspects of any child's growth and development within the primary school. First and foremost, it needs to be a kind, caring, warm, and fun and exciting place to be for your children. Following on from that into the upper years, years 1 to 6 of the primary curriculum, again, you can see that now we're expanding our approach in terms of the different areas of education they experience, whether it be through music and drama. And of course, these are also elements that are incorporated into the early years as well, but here they become more distinct. And so we have science. All of our students will learn Portuguese and French from year 6, respecting and celebrating our heritage and location within Portugal. All of our students will learn Portuguese, whether it's as a native language or whether it's a second, third, fourth language. So this is, again, inquiry-based education where children explore the world through themes as opposed to separate, discrete subjects. Moving on from the primary school, we now enter the secondary school. And within the Lisboan buildings themselves, the youngest children are on the ground floor. Early years will have access to their play spaces and gardens, which have direct access from the classrooms out into those spaces. And the early year school will be a distinct school within a school in terms of providing them that safe and secure environment. And the children get older as you move up through the buildings. Now, secondary school. So year 7 to 13, and of course up to year 10 in September. So for the secondary curriculum, again, a Cambridge-based curriculum, and you can see that trajectory and that linkage between right the way from the early years through the primary school and then up into what we call the middle school, year 7 to 9. So here, the approach, again, is a thematic approach where children explore themes across all of these different disciplines, whether it be from the languages of English and Portuguese, or French, mathematics, and science, and then, of course, all of the creative opportunities for music and drama, visual arts, sporting opportunities. All children will, of course, have access to daily exercise and opportunities to develop their interests and curiosity for sport. Designing technology, computer science, leveraging technology and understanding technology that is all around us in responsible ways, and making meaning of all of the information they are bombarded with on a daily basis, and humanities and global perspectives, gaining an understanding of the social sciences and the global challenges and opportunities that surround us. And then as we move up through the secondary school, we enter what is the IGCSE program for years 10 and 11. And here students can start to specialize in those subjects that they have particular love and interest in. So again, having what we often call the core subjects of English and mathematics and science, but also being able to take on board electives, so options, whether it be they want to take on board history or further explore business or geography, etc. And having access, again, of course, to sports and exciting opportunities for movement and competition. And then finally, and this is a program that will be introduced in 2027, we will introduce the International Baccalaureate. This is a program, one of the leading educational programs in schools across the world, and is recognized by all leading tertiary institutions, universities around the world. And Students will then be able to choose subjects within 6 subject groupings, ranging from the sciences to the arts to mathematics to individuals and societies, the humanities and social sciences, studying a first and second language through language and literature and language acquisition. And then sitting at the heart of that business model, education model, is 3 programs: the theory of knowledge, what is knowledge, learning to think about thinking, and the extended essay, which is a 4,000-word research essay across the 2 years, and then creativity, action, and service, or CAS, a program that allows them to create their own learning experience, whether it be through creative opportunities or giving back through service or taking part in activity. So, in a nutshell, this is the curriculum that we will offer. You can see there are 2 logos on the screen, CIS and WASC. So we will be accredited by the Council of International Schools and the Western Association of Schools and Colleges, which will allow us to offer the US diploma as a high school diploma as well in some years to come. And the CIS accreditation will basically ensure that we are aligning our school with the highest of standards when it comes to international education in leading schools around the world. So there you have it. This has been an overview of the curriculum. In terms of the actual shape of the day, we will start our day at 8:30. Parents will be able to drop their children off at school at 8 o'clock in the morning. And should you choose to do so, there will be facilities on offer for you to come in as parents, spend time with other parents, building those vital connections and friendships for you. Get a cup of coffee, get a cup of tea, have some refreshments within our buildings. And then we have hour-long lessons that then shape the day across 6 periods until 4 p.m. And of course, for the youngest ones who are starting their school journey, we will have shorter end to the day certainly in the first weeks of their educational experience. We have a 20-minute break for morning break at 10:40. We have an hour-long period for lunch. And I'll come on to the lunch in just a moment, but we have a refectory, a dining hall in our school, where we will offer well-balanced nutritional food across the school year to all of our students. And then we have what's called a CCA program. Now, what does that mean? That is a co-curricular activity program where students will be able to engage in a wide range of educational experiences that sit outside the classroom, whether it be in the creative arts or the sciences, or there is so much on offer. And that then follows on from 5 to 6 for an optional second co-curricular activity for those who want to opt into those activities for your children, particularly for those of you who have a longer working day. So that is it in terms of the shape of the day. Of course, we are very passionate about making sure that the entire experience of every child that comes into our school is designed in such a way that allows them to flourish both academically and socially and in terms of their well-being. I've talked about the inquiry-based learning, building upon the children's interests to explore those interests and topics and themes through that inquiry, as opposed to segmenting their learning into different subject areas and disciplines. They all link together. Exploring their passions is vitally important because every child has different interests. So designing our curriculum to be flexible enough to allow them to engage with their own interests is vitally important. And it is vitally important that we link it into the real world. Learning can at times be very abstract, and understandably so when it is relevant, but we want to make sure that we can tie it into the real world around them in their immediate environment at all times. And having voice and choice is about making sure that their voices have power and that they contribute, as well as you as parents, as that is same for our staff as well, and being able to actually shape our school at any given time. So on to the next slide. Technology is vitally important. Technology is all around us, and it is so important that our children learn to use this technology to be able to leverage all the exciting opportunities that technology represents. But at the same time, we also understand that we have to be very, very mindful of and careful of the way in which technology is used, making sure that exposure to screen time is thought about extremely carefully, because there is growing research to show that too much exposure to technology and screen time in particular can have negative consequences for their mental health and well-being. We will operate a no-phone school. That is not to say that we do not recognize that phones play an important part in our lives. Of course, they do. But we also understand that utilizing phones across the day within a school environment can have quite significant negative impacts on their social and mental development. Their health and well-being. We will offer a nutritious snacks and lunches across the day. Information on menus, of course, will be made available to all parents and students. And you will be invited to come into school to partake in what is on offer so that you understand and see and experience what your children are experiencing. And not only, of course, around the food, but of course, welcome to come and see our school, whether it be through community events or to actually see your children learning and engaging in their growth and development and supporting it. Transportation, we are blessed in the fact that the Lisboan is well located in terms of transportation links across Lisbon. It is relatively easy to get to our school from a lot of areas across the city. We are now looking at the possibilities of offering a bus service should there be the need and demand for that from parents. So pickups to come to school in the morning and taking home at the end of the day. The Lisbon experience is one of the pillars I referenced at the beginning of this presentation today. The Lisbon experience is ensuring that we offer exciting opportunities beyond the classroom, and that those opportunities link together, whether it be inside the classroom or outside the classroom, because we understand that a great education is about looking at the whole child, creating a wealth of opportunity through so many different ways in which you can engage, whether it's sports, whether it's community service, inside and outside the school, and making sure that we develop empathy and that we show that we can all have impact, no matter how small, through the Artemis experience. So the Artemis experience will be at the heart of our co-curricular program at the end of every school day. If you recall the slide I showed you earlier, we have 2 slots across at the end of the day from 4 to 5 and then from 5 to 6. And this is where the Lisbon experience lives. We are in the process of developing relationships, some of these relationships have already been developed. Some of these relationships are in process of being developed. And of course, this is just the beginning. We have incredible opportunities around our school to engage in opportunities for sports and healthy outdoor activities, whether it be the Escala for rock climbing or the Alcantar Pier for sailing, the paddle club for paddle, and the Atletico sports facility for football and sports, the Agronomia Agricultural College, where we are building links to create opportunities to run gardens, maybe run a forest school in the Monsanto forest, and of course, Carcavelos, forgive my pronunciation, I'm learning Portuguese, for surfing. And as I say, this is just the start of the opportunities that we will generate. And of course, your voice as parents, I know that you will have lots of ideas. You will have direct connections that you can offer to create those extra experiences through the Lisbon experience as well. Now, one of the offerings that we are providing is in April, the Adventure Experience Week. So if you want to, you have the ability to send your child to partake in this camp, the Adventure Camp, which runs from the 14th to the 18th of April. So we will be based, of course, in Lisbon, and we will have daily schedules across the 5 days. ranging from exercises centered on team building to environmental impact and connection, physical challenges, and creative expression. So they will run from 9 in the morning to 5 p.m. across those 5 days. And you will be able to sign up for that. There is a QR code on the screen there for you, but you can also directly go through the school website or send an email to admissions@the-lisbon.school. The cost is €250. Basically, it's covering the expenses associated with the camp for that whole week. And it is offered for students up to 15 years old from 5 years old. And we have a maximum sign-up of 28. We already have quite a few sign-ups already. So make sure that if you find this to be exciting prospect for your child, do sign up. We will also be running a camp in August, and this will become an annual event, of course, beyond all of the different trips and exciting opportunities that we will have on offer across the school year. Now, the second pillar, vitally important part of our identity, is the Lisboan promise. And in short, this is our promise for the future, delivering a better planet, making positive difference for the children we teach and the communities we build, and to the wider world in every way that we can. And this is broken down into making sure that the choices we make are climate positive in terms of the impacts those choices have on the environment, and not just on the environment, but on people, on communities, through everything that we consume. Every time we put on a piece of clothing or buy a piece of clothing, this is an impact we are having on people all over the world, or the food that we consume, and making sure that the choices we make ultimately celebrate community and impact communities in positive ways, whether it be in Alcantara or in Lisbon or in other places around the world. We have a solar farm on our building. We have offset carbon generated through the construction and the redevelopment of these beautiful historic buildings. We aim to support projects all over the world through the Artemis Promise. Every single staff member gives a day of their salary every year to support what is called the Artemis Foundation. And this might not seem like much, but if you take all of the money raised for every single staff member across all of our schools, because of course we are not just one school, we are part of Artemis Education, having other schools in, for example, Qatar, and other schools for the future within Europe and beyond. We aim to overstaff our schools, for example, so that staff can apply to take a year sabbatical fully funded by us to support projects that your children will also be engaging with. So an incredibly important part of our identity and our DNA. Now, I'd like to just give you a little flavor of the actual buildings themselves. These are very recent photographs taken from within the building, and you can see that the spaces are starting to come alive. It is still being developed, of course, but you can see that here the development of the buildings has come a long way, and we are now starting to actually see classrooms being fitted, etc. The spaces within the building will be incredibly bright. In the picture on the right-hand side, you can see one of the original columns, steel columns that you will see throughout the building. Here we are on the top floor on the left-hand side, the picture of the main building. This is actually where we will have most of our administrative offices. I think my office is just to the right down the corridor there. Here you can see again lots of large windows streaming light into the building. Here you can see further spaces, again the beautiful arched windows, and retaining all of the beautiful steel columns and the woodwork inside the building. Of course, it is a protected historic building. Just amazing to see the way in which it is now coming alive. Here on the left-hand side, you can see one of our classrooms being fitted. This is happening now as I speak, literally. And again, that beautiful arched window with Katarina, our admissions manager. And then this photograph here shows, again, one of our classrooms, our fitted classrooms that is in process of being completed with a screen that we can then cover with these whiteboards as we need to. So very dynamic spaces, exciting spaces, and I cannot wait to see the furniture arriving very soon. And we aim to invite you to come into our school building from April onwards, where we can take you on tours and show you the actual facilities and spaces within the Lisboan. Now, I'd like to conclude my presentation today with giving you an insight into the admissions process. You can go directly to our website, of course, to learn more about our school. And there is a section of the website which reflects what I will share with you now in terms of the actual steps that you need to undertake in terms of securing a place at the Lisboan for your child or for your children. And of course, admissions is such an important part of any school. And this is really where we start to, these are the first steps of actually engaging with you and welcoming you into our community. And it's important for you to understand what we are about as a school and as a founding family. Your role in shaping our school is going to be so important. So, steps that you need to undertake in terms of the admissions process itself. So, in summary, these are 6 steps. So the first step is basically where you submit an inquiry, and you can do that through our school website, the admissions part of our school website. And this begins the dialogue with yourself and us as a school. And then taking it on from there, looking at the various documents in terms of enrollment. To enroll your child at the Lisboan, you are required to gather and submit your child's passport information, the parents' and guardians' passport information, vaccination records, school reports from previous schools, if that applies, of course, and passport-size photograph. Assessment. Now, let me explain what that means. We are an inclusive school, so we are not selective, and we do not use the assessment process to feed into the decision as to whether we accept your child or not. The assessment basically means looking at all of the circumstances surrounding your child to make sure that we can support your child to the best of our ability in terms of whether it be the different areas of learning that they will engage with, etc., their level of language ability, so that we can make sure that we support them right from the get-go. And then ultimately, having gone through that process and then receiving an offer and securing your child's place. Once you receive an offer from us, you have 10 working days to ultimately make a decision. There is an acceptance form that you need to return back to us, and that basically contains the terms and conditions around the offer. And then there is also a parent or guardian contract acknowledging your role in your child's education, and then paying an enrollment fee which secures your child's or your children's place at the Lisboan. Now, vitally important information that I'm going to conclude with, of course, the fees. How much do you have to pay to send your child to the Lisboan? And we believe in transparency and openness in this regard. I think that is vitally important. And you can see here, the table summarizes the fees according to the age of your child, whether it be, and the fees broken down by the 3 terms, and of course, that being the total across represented for the annual fee. There is an application fee, which is non-refundable in terms of the beginning of the process, which is a €250 fee. And then ultimately a one-off registration fee of €4,750, which is paid in addition to the fees themselves. What is not included on this slide is that there is a lunch fee. We require all of our students to partake in our lunches and snacks. And we do this for the following reasons. It gives us control of ensuring that there is that balance of a healthy and nutritious diet across the day. And it also allows us to manage issues, for example, such as whether we have allergies and things like that. So we will be able to provide your child with a diet that ensures, of course, that they have that nutrition, essential nutrition across the day to foster their growth and their learning and their mental health. And that cost comes at a cost of €500 per term or €1,500 across the academic year. So I'm sure that the information I've presented to you today has raised some questions in your mind. So the questions that you can put them into the Q&A. If there should be a Q&A icon on your screen, and you can type in your questions. And John, my assistant, will basically, I won't be able to answer all of your questions in the time that we have, but John will be picking out questions and with the themes that are emerging in terms of what you would like to know more about. So that brings me to the end of my presentation, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And
yeah, we can move forward with I have some questions submitted, so we're ready to go.
Great.
Here they come. In regards to the early years in primary, can you speak about the ways Portuguese language and culture will be part of the school? Will Portuguese language be encouraged beyond isolated weekly Portuguese lessons?
Yes. So, of course, it's vitally important that we celebrate the culture of Portugal and the language of Portuguese within our school. So all of our children will have access to learning Portuguese, whether it's fostering their native language or learning it as an additional language. And in fact, this will be a requirement for all of our students within the Lisboan. Forms a vital part of their education. It is important to us that we foster mother tongue, whether that be Portuguese or any other language beyond English, because of course, English is the language of instruction for the Lisboan. Research shows us that by fostering and celebrating mother tongue language, this has very positive impact on children's learning. So yes, Portuguese will be a vitally important part of the DNA of our learning environment.
Okay. And this next person, I'd appreciate learning more about daily physical exercise programs. Will there be organized sports teams?
Absolutely, yes. We have, our facilities are wonderful. We have a sports hall. We have a dance studio. We have a separate gym. So all children will have daily physical activity through PE and sports. And yes, developing sports teams across the school is vitally important to us. So yes, absolutely, there will be numerous opportunity to participate in competitive and enjoyable sports.
Next question. What will parent involvement look like at the Lisboan? How can parents support and be involved?
In so many different kinds of ways. I mean, coming back to what I was talking about earlier about community, building a healthy, thriving community requires the commitment and involvement of everyone. And you as parents, you are, of course, a vitally important part of community. So I aim to, together with the team at the Lisboan, build a community school where you can come into the school regularly, where you have the ability to voice your ideas, to make contributions, to support, to generate exciting learning opportunities for children, to build connections with other parents, with our members of staff, with other families. Vitally important. We will have facilities on site where you can come daily if you wish. So, for example, when you drop off your child, come and get a cup of coffee, cup of tea, etc. There will be numerous opportunities. And through, for example, whether it be the learning environments, through the daily curriculum that is explored, or through the co-curricular activities, if you can offer something, community events, We want to hear from you. We want your involvement.
They're starting to come in a little bit more, but
Yeah.
we'll be able to do what we can. What is the Lisboans' approach to homework?
Oh, great question. So homework has to be intentional. There has to be a purpose for homework. We don't believe in setting homework for the reason of setting homework. Absolutely not. So we will not be setting homework for our youngest learners, and we will slowly introduce the concept of very measured and specific activity support your child's learning. So homework will not be a part of the experience for our youngest children within the primary school. It'll be staged and slowly introduced over time as the children get older. And then we will make sure that when homework is set, that it's set in accordance with a scheduled timetable. We cannot ever have, for example, instances of homework being set for the next day and in such a way that it takes a very considerable time, adding to the stresses and the strains of your children. So absolutely not. Homework can be an important part of a child's education, but the majority of the learning should be taking place in our school.
Will the construction works be finished when the school starts?
Yes. Short answer. Yes.
Will the students have outdoor education? Is a question, right?
Oh, yes, absolutely. That is a vitally important part of learning. I think part of the challenge that we have as a modern community is that we've lost the connection with nature, with the outdoors. And that is a connection that I'm very keen to build and build upon, because of course it's going to vary for so many different people depending on their prior experience. But outdoor education is a vitally important part of our education at the Lisboan. I talked about, for example, the links that we're building with agronomia, the Monsanto forest area, going out into our parks, going outside on regular visits out into the community to museums, whether it be festivals, bring the community into our school as well and offering them opportunities, seeing our school as a vitally important part of learning opportunity for them as well. So outdoor education, yes. I want to build a forest school out whether it be out in Monsanto or other parts of Lisbon. We have the ocean, we have the coastline, we have the river. The possibilities are numerous.
A few questions of the number of children per class is.
Yes. So we aim to start the school with a founding population of 300 students, and that is going from early years, so from the 3-year-olds up to the 14, 15-year-olds in year 10. We will have small class sizes as a founding school, and then we will eventually reach a maximum of 22 in the school itself. So first year they will be small, and then we will grow up to that maximum size. Our building can accommodate between 1,100 to 1,200 students. And of course, we aim to grow in such a way that is sustainable for us as a school community. We cannot grow too fast. We have to be very measured and balanced in how we grow.
Okay. We're going to keep going until about 4 o'clock. Here we go. A question, are the teachers native English or Portuguese speakers? If so, what's the split between English, PT, and other languages?
Okay,
I don't know if we get the second part, but yeah. Go on.
Yeah, so we are now in the process of recruiting the founding team of faculty across the school. So we aim to recruit the best possible teachers from across the world in their various different areas of expertise. And so English is the language of instruction across the school. So the requirement, of course, is that people are fluent and fluently conversant in the English language. We will absolutely be having people who can offer other languages, etc. We are an international school, so diversity is very important. I think there is power in diversity. So we will be having teachers from multiple different nationalities. But as I say, of course, the requirement is that they are wonderful teachers and that they are fully conversant in the language of English.
Quick question is your curriculum purely British?
No. It is based on the English national curriculum. So we are drawing upon the strengths of the English national curriculum, but contextualizing it for an international school environment and contextualizing that curriculum for our home in Portugal and Lisbon. So I guess a part of the answer is yes. And the other half of that answer is it is international in scope. Yes, absolutely.
The sports facilities, will the sports facilities at the school, where will they be for the PE lessons?
Yes, so we are building. So the Lisboan, the historic buildings themselves are actually made up of 3 buildings. There is one, the main building, which you will see actually when you go into Alcantara. It's an L-shaped building. That is the main building. And then we have 2 separate buildings. One building actually used to be where they stored the flour, or what's called the silo, with these incredibly thick walls. And then the third historic building is where all of the water pumps used to be stored. We are actually creating and building a new building that will contain, so that's on the western perimeter of the campus. If you've been to that area, that's where our sports hall will be located. So we will have a fully fledged sports hall. And as I say, in addition to that, there will be a dance studio, a drama studio, and we have a beautiful, beautiful theatre as part of our development or redevelopment. And in addition to that, we will also have links with Atletico to be able to utilize their facilities. We do not have a swimming pool inside our buildings, and we are developing a relationship with a local swimming pool to be able to offer swimming for our students.
Will there be a house system?
There will be a house system, indeed. Yes, I think house systems are can be exciting and fun to encourage healthy and enjoyable competition between students, but also not just competition, of course, ultimately teamwork and collaboration fundamentally, and that it's one of the elements that fosters belonging as well, I think, within a school. So yes, there will be.
Very nice. Last one, will there be opportunities for students to take part in MUN, the Model United Nations?
That's a great question. Yes. Again, short answer, yes. We have founding team members who have experience of running MUN. I used to be an MUN coordinator for many years. So yes, absolutely. Running Model United Nations within our school and engaging in opportunities outside of school with other schools, that's something that I'm very excited about.
All right, that's it for our questions.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I just wish I could see you all, but I can't. So I encourage you to come and visit us, come and see the school. As I said earlier, we will be offering you the ability to come on school tours from April onwards to actually see the site itself, the incredible site of Lisbon. And we will be running weekly events from the beginning of March onwards. So please do keep an eye out on our social media and our school website. And I look forward to be able to actually see you in person and to welcome you, hopefully, to the Lisboan. So thank you.